the Y News.
Thank you, Akash, for having me in your program. And it is indeed very disconcerting when such events happen in our neighborhood, especially. Um, as we know that Myanmar was moving forward and enriching democracy in the last few years. And since 1948, its independence, more than 60 years, it has been under the army rule. And even now, when after the last elections, we have had the government of Prime Minister Suchi, what we feel is that they had found certain kind of a cohabitation because as per their constitution and as per the arrangement between the military, Tatmada, and the democratically elected government, there are certain distribution of powers. The key ministries of defense and interior were with the army really, in a way, called shots to a great extent. And as we have seen that the political government was also looking forward to work with them. In addition, the constitution also provided the party that is USDP, which is supported by the military, to have about at least 25% of the parliamentary seats. But the elections that were held on November 8th, we saw that the army probably did not expect that there was going to be such a big victory for the NLD party, National Democratic League. And so we feel that that is something that did not. And so they started accusing through the USDP and through other some demonstrations in favor of the military, and started saying that there was irregularities and voter fraud, and that the election should be results should be annulled. So the day that the new government was to take over on February 1st, the army called for the coup, and they just really displaced them, took several of the leaders in the thing. They said this is a cabinet reshuffle and this is the emergency has been declared for 1 year. Now it is debatable whether under the constitution or the law, which 417 or 418, whether it was legal or not. But at the same time, this has been displaced. But this time, I believe that the army probably slightly miscalculated the popular response that will come from within the country. As we are seeing that there is an increasing number of protests from different parts, civil services, from the academia, from the bankers, from the monks. So it's been growing significantly. Of course, there are certain people who would definitely be in favor, especially in the regions, might be in favor of the army. But at the same time, I think this is a problem. But for the time being, what we are seeing is that, of course, there are demonstrations taking place, and there have been some high-handedness on the part of the military in handling it. Even the policemen have decided to go with the restoration of democracy in the country. In addition, we are seeing all over the world, especially in the ASEAN countries and even in some other countries, people trying to, protest and showing their solidarity with the movement people. And so really right now it is very difficult to understand exactly how the military will come a notch down. And although they say that they would like to have new elections and bring about restoration of democracy, the United Nations, the Americans, the British, the Canadians, everybody has tried to pressure them. And Americans have even invoked sanctions. Several international companies have decided not to do business with them. So we don't know, but at the same time, there are reasons for why military would have taken over. We can always speculate over those reasons. One was basically that General Huleng, who was going to retire at the age of 65 in July 2021, um, felt that he might not, his term might not be extended, or he might not become the president, which he probably aimed at. That was one. Secondly, the army itself in Myanmar has tremendous interests in the businesses, and they control a large part of the business. And therefore, they want to continue to do that. Thirdly, there is a court case, as you know, by Gambia against for the human rights violations and against him per se. And so there was a feeling that all these things will become very difficult for his own survival and continuity in the country. So it's very likely that they did it and they took the umbrage of the election irregularities. So we have to just see how it evolves eventually. At the moment, situation is very delicate. The international community is trying to pressure them. There are Chinese, of course, as you know, who called it as a cabinet reshuffle. if you were to. So they stand with them. So far, although they signed up on the United Nations, not condemnation exactly, but the criticism that the democratic institutions must be restored.